Hello and welcome to the Chaotic TV News Update, episode number 15. Now, where have we been, guys? It's been a few weeks since we've done one of these news updates. Well, let me tell you what's been going on and why we took a couple of weeks off. Our very own Lethal X, who is the owner of Chaotic TV and puts together all our episodes and edits everything together and posts it up on the site for you guys all to see. Like many people, he lives in Florida and he was dealing with the aftermath of a hurricane. And so for several days, he was without power and internet. And so he had many other more important things on his mind. We're glad that he made it through the hurricane and he's doing well now. But that's why we haven't done one of these in a few weeks. Anyway, so in episode number 15 of the Chaotic Risk News Update, we want to update you what's been going on ever since. Okay, the big news of the week, of course, was earth-shattering news was former Ozzy Osbourne rock guitarist Jakey Lee, while walking his dog around 2 o'clock in the morning, Las Vegas, Nevada, where Jake lives these days, he was shot 3 times. Now, the good news is that Jake has survived. Ever since the shooting, he's been in the hospital, the ICU unit. Reports are that he's doing pretty good, and he's expected to make a full recovery. Now, we're really happy to hear that. And so that's the big news of the week. And again, we're glad, and you'll all be glad to know that reports come out that not only is Jake doing fine, that his dog he was walking late at night was unharmed. So we're glad to hear that the dog's doing all right as well. Okay, now you want to know, you want to tune into our latest episode of the This Is Metal Show. Now, this was a very special episode because actually Tom and I, when the news broke of Jack Russell's death, from Great White, Jack Russell's Great White, I knew right away that I wanted to put together a special tribute episode of our show. And there's a number of reasons. I had the opportunity to, of course, interview Jack about 2 times in the history of Chaotic Risk TV, and you can go up and on our site where everything's archived on our YouTube channel, and you can find those 2 interviews. And the one thing, going back to the very first time I had interviewed Jack, I must go right to tell you all, I never met Jack in person. Both times I interviewed him, it was over the phone. But one thing, going all the way back to the very first time I interviewed Jack over the phone, became very clear to me immediately. It was forget about what a great frontman and great vocalist Jack was. He was just an overall super nice guy, and that came across in each of the interviews I did with Jack. Again, I never met him in person, but his just what a nice guy he was. That came really clear just talking to the man over the phone. And so when his death was announced, I knew I wanted to put together a special tribute to Jack. I talked to Tom, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it, man." Also, over the years, several times I have interviewed guitarist Robbie Lochner, who is pretty much Jack's right-hand man in Jack Russell's Great White. Robbie was also a co-writer in many of the Jack Russell's Great White songs with Jack. So he was definitely somebody I wanted to have on. So the current episode we have up is part 1 of our Jack Russell tribute. And in part 1, we talked to, we didn't get a chance to talk to Robbie. He was originally supposed to come on the episode with Terry Lewis and Kim Mary. Now, Terry Lewis, interestingly enough, he's the very man that replaced Jack Russell in Great White. And it's amazing what great friends Terry and Jack became in the last couple of years of Jack's life. And you don't see that too often, where a guy replaces another guy and they become the best of friends. And Terry had a lot of kind words to say about Jack. And that's why I really urge you guys to tune into the current episode. And we also had Ken Mary. Many of you know Ken Mary is a drummer. He's currently playing in Flotsam and Jetsam. He's playing in he's played with Jack Russell's Great White, House of Lords, and Alice Cooper over the years. And Robbie Lochner, I mentioned, along with Tony Montana and Ken Mary. They can no longer go by the name Jack Russell's Great White, but they're going to continue playing the music of Jack Russell. And the new band is going to go by the name of Once Bitten. And it was recently announced that Andrew Freeman, as many of you know, is the frontman and lead singer for Last in Line. He's going to be fronting the new Once Bitten band. We're going to see if we can't get these guys all to come on and talk about the new Once Bitten band on a future episode. Now, to give you one more update on the the current Jack Russell tribute episode. We have, like I said, Robbie Lochner was supposed to come on, as was Tony Montana, who's a bass player and guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, who's played with Jack in both Great White and Jack Russell's Great White over the years. Tony is a super talented guy, as is Robbie. And so since they were unable to take part in this first episode, our Jack Russell tribute episode is gonna have a second part to it. And on November 6th, we're gonna invite Robbie Lochner and Tony Montana to come on and share their memories of Jack. So we're not quite done paying tribute to the late great Jack Russell. So you have all that to look forward to now. And I just urge you, please tune into part one of our Jack Russell tribute that's currently up. You can go on the site and see it. It was a ton of fun. Now, also another thing I want to tell you guys about is we have a new show that premiered just this month in October called Special Editions. It's a show that we're going to put on once a month. Now, the original plan that we're going to have like one episode a month, and that's still the way we're going to proceed the show. But since, Halloween's right around the corner, I thought it'd be fun to invite two guests to come on. Michael Wilkerson, our good friend who sometimes sits in for Tom Collier on the This Is Metal show when Tom's unable to do a show, he's got a gig or something. And so we call on our good friend Michael Wilkerson. And so we had Mike come on and talk about, me and him each talk about our top 5 horror movies of all time. I thought that would be fun because Halloween is right around the corner. Now, our other mutual friend that's supposed to join us for episode 1 of Special Editions was Ben Hicks, the writer, creator of Midas Cove. We've had Ben twice now on the This Is Metal show as a guest. He was a guest on our huge viral anniversary episode that y'all made our most popular episode to date. So we thank you all for that. But Ben Hicks also came on to talk about his top 5 horror movies. But the day Mike came on, Ben was having internet issues, so we had to record Ben's episode separately, and that just premiered last week. So please check out Special Edition. And that's gonna be a show once a month where we could be talking about any number of topics. We could be talking about censorship in the music industry. We could be talking about somebody's favorite horror movies like we did in episode 1. You just never know who the guest is going to be until you tune in. You never know what the topic's going to be. So I think that will be fun. You guys can start tuning into that once a month. So episode 2 is already being planned for next month in November. So stay tuned for that. Now, finally, another show that I really dig doing here is Gar Boris's Time Machine, our pop culture show that I do with my great friend Gar Boris, who's the frontman of the Guns N' Roses tribute band Appetite for Destruction. Gar is a super huge talent. I mean, you close your eyes and I swear I'm listening to Axl Rose from 1987. Way to go, Gar. But in episode 70 of our current episode on Gar Boris's Time Machine, we did a great episode on Sonny and Cher, but we broke it down into 2 separate parts. Part 1 is talking about the rise of Sonny and Cher in their musical career, going all the way back to the early 60s. And then episode 1 ends around 1969 when Sonny and Cher's career started to stall with 2 flop movies. And then around 1972, they return with the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. That's where we pick up the Sonny and Cher story in part 2. And both part 1 and part 2 are currently up. So I urge you to go check that all out. Now, it's been great catching up with you guys. Talk to you again real soon. See you next week. Bye for now.